As soon as the screen there turns, there we go, top of my head. Derek, we're ready to start.
I'd like to call to order the August 17th, 2023 meeting of the EMS Commission meeting for Fitch-Rona. Can you help me do a roll call, Chief?
Sure, yeah, Michelle is in here, so Sue Lugenbuehl. I see you're on there.
Here, yep.
Dr. Lonsdorf,
Here.
and we got Kate Cronin,
Present.
and Brett McHenry.
I'm here.
See you there, perfect. Derek Johnson,
Present.
JR is excused, Jim Wheeler,
Here.
and Connie Hilla.
I'm here.
Perfect, so we do have a quorum.
Moving on, are there any public comments
I
to
did not
discuss, Chief?
receive any public comments.
Okay. And we're moving on to the fourth agenda item, the swearing in and pinning of paramedic Jamie Ennis.
So I'll have you raise your right hand. So I state your name
I, Jamie Ennis,
as a sworn paramedic of the Fitch-Rona EMS district,
as a sworn paramedic of the Fitch-Rona EMS district,
swear that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
swear that I will faithfully, honestly, and impartially
discharge the duties of an EMS provider,
discharge the duties of an EMS provider,
and I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability.
and I pledge to carry out these duties to the best of my ability.
I will honor and respect the mission, goals, purpose, and policies
I will honor and respect the mission, goals, purposes, and policies
of the district and the administrative rules of the state of Wisconsin.
of the district and administrative rules of the state of Wisconsin.
And I recognize the badge of my position as a symbol of public faith and trust.
And I recognize the badge of my position as a symbol of public faith and trust.
And I accept this position so long as I am true to the ethics of the emergency medical services profession.
And I accept this position so long as I am true to the ethics of the emergency medical services profession.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
I make these promises solemnly, freely, and upon my honor.
Congratulations and welcome.
Thank you.
Congrats.
Oops,
Thank
let me
you.
set this down. Do you want to grab a? Would you mind grabbing?
Sure.
Nice job, buddy. You got it on there perfect.
There you go.
Like we like each other?
Yeah, really? There you go.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Let you guys take a moment, unless you want to stay for the rest of a government meeting, which is
Thank you. Thank you. Have a good night.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Night.
We ready for the next agenda item, Chief?
We are ready to move on.
All right. Review and approval of the meeting minutes from July 13th. Are
So
there any questions or comments?
other than we'll correct, the date was July 20th, which is correct on the meeting. It's minutes, it's just not correct on the agenda.
Apologies. All right. Any questions or comments or edits to the meeting minutes?
I'll move approval.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All opposed, signify by saying nay. The motion passes and the meeting minutes from July 20th are approved. All right. Moving on to the chief's report.
If you give me a minute to get it pulled up. So there you see the chief's report. This was all emailed out. Yeah, you're sharing. I'm sharing it. Okay. This was emailed out to everybody. Just the usual kind of highlights that I hit there. So it was a slow month for us last month with only a 3% increase on the year before, but we're still on track for about 14% over for the year. Otherwise, you'll see all the usual municipal numbers on there. Hit 2 more calls where we had the city of Madison come in last month. We're actually already up to 2 more calls this month. So that number does keep climbing as we kind of look forward to the future of what we need to do to continue to keep that district covered. I didn't list any community events there. Lots of CPR classes we have out there. We actually did one at the senior center today here in Fitchburg. At 16, we capped it at 16, just kind of space and equipment, and we actually had all 16 sign up for it. And then they also said they actually have a wait list. So getting that public access CPR out there, as well as again next month we've got on September 19th that I think here at the library in Fitchburg for the deaf and hard of hearing community. We have one in October set up in Fitchburg, and then a Stop the Bleed class and a CPR class set up at the Fitch-Rona Library. So lots of those going on out there. Rest of the data you see there, like we usually see. As far as the aging report goes, this is one where I'll share one of the notes I was going to have at the end. You'll see, as usual, that 180 days has climbed up to about 46.7%. I did share with you last month, I believe, that the billing company that we have used for over a decade, Three Rivers, Brad, who is a family-owned business. Brad passed away unexpectedly last month, so they have been working extremely hard to get us caught up to they have actually sold their company to a different billing company. It's called EMS MC, I believe is what it is. We actually met with them today. So they've actually been moved into Cedarburg is where those headquarters is. He said they have actually a crew down there trying to play catch up with them. So today again was our first meeting as to kind of how we move forward. A good introduction from them. They're actually going to come out here. It's a nationwide company, but they do have local, like kind of a local branch, I guess, over towards the Milwaukee, Grafton area. I did express big concerns to them that 46% is truly unacceptable. As I've been working with Brad for a while to get that caught up, they recognize that's a problem. So he promises me they're really working on the transition here in the next month to switch everything over. The other thing you're going to see if you look at that 0 to 30 days at 51,000, that 5%, that's an extraordinarily low number for us. So it's playing catch up. He tells me 45 to 60 days they will be back up running 100%, and all of this will be caught up, and they will address that 180 day plus marker. So I want to make sure I shared that with you because those are some really abnormal numbers for us. That is why we met with them today. Actually, I think it's going to be a good move for us to switch to kind of a larger billing company. Does anybody have any questions about that? Okay, yeah, it was really about a 20-minute introduction yet, so we haven't done the bigger deep dive with them. But they are, because they're a significantly larger system, there's a lot more integration. We can do live dashboards and all the kind of stuff about real-time billing. So I'll keep you informed on where we're at with that. Otherwise, you just see our cash on hand there. I think I've got it later in the report there. I think we've gotten all of our municipal funds. The usual expenditures for our FAP grants and our CDs. As far as our no donations for last month, our August milestones is we brought on 4 new LTEs last year. It's Jessica, Carlos, Amy, and Desiree. Amy, if you remember, actually she was actually just hired to fill the interim or the full-time position vacated by our employee still on FMLA. Shocked to him last week came by. Actually, sounds like his treatments are going very well, but still kind of a longer recovery for him. Carlos, who's one of our LTEs, who's actually picked up a significant number of hours for us, was actually just picked up full-time in Sun Prairie. So we're going to see kind of a cut in his hours, as well as one of our other LTEs who we picked up about 6 months ago just got picked up in Wanakee full-time. So we kind of have as I've shared with you, the staffing levels of the county. We're all kind of sharing these part-timers, full-timers. And Rob and Peter to pay Paul as far as positions go, and just kind of sharing that wealth around there. But those they have all told me they're still going to stick around and pull some hours for us. So those are our milestones. Nothing new with our updates. We will meet next week as far as our point of care ultrasound that we got with our EPIC grant. They are delivered. We have the new tablets. We've got the ultrasound equipment itself. It's just sitting in my office. We've met once already with our docs, group of docs from UW to deploy them, and then we're going to meet next week to kind of put some real-time dates on there. Love to do the usual shout-outs. Fitchburg Senior Center sent out a huge thanks, a huge kudos to the EMS team, as well as I noted there the multidisciplinary department kind of response. So we do actually have, I think it's once a month, if not it's every other week, and Jeff attends that in Fitchburg, a multidisciplinary team that consists of police, fire, EMS, senior center, building inspection. I'm probably forgetting else who is in there, but really they talk about kind of to the extent we can share patient information, but a lot of situations really with this one was like a hoarding situation, to get in there and get them some assistance with some housing, some assistance, and then dealing with apartment complexes and those places that we go to a lot where they might be able to benefit from some resources that some other departments can provide. So this is a person who we were actually able to help that I believe it started off as a kind of a building inspection complaint and kind of escalated to involving EMS. So Amy from the Senior Center wanted to recognize that. Mandy Hollis, who's one of our EMTs, she really just works special events for us. Her real job is actually working at the Cambridge Community Center with kids, so this kind of working with teenagers and kids is totally her bag. So she participated in the Fitch-Rona PD National Night Out, and so she worked with Sarah, who wanted to give a shout out to her, that just said she did a phenomenal job interacting with the kids that came to National Night Out. Fitchburg had theirs last night. I have not heard how that went. And then the last one, really like to share, retired battalion chief, I believe, out of Milwaukee, brought a group of Boy Scouts up to one of the Fitchburg fire stations. As part of their Boy Scout tour was really just to tour a station and talk about 911. Sarah was there, and put it in quotes there, he said, performed above and beyond, as she kind of pulled out an impromptu first aid CPR class for the Boy Scout group that came to visit the station. So he actually did send an email just to recognize her for some great performance. So that's kind of the shout out to Sarah. Other things
Oh, Chief, can I add a shout out?
Sure. Yeah.
So it's for the chief. So I help coach the Fitch-Rona area high school, middle school mountain bike team. We have about 100 athletes, and we start out our season in July on grass, like in Badger Prairie Park, and then we move to like Quarry Ridge and Seminole and trails and trees and things where you can break collarbones and all kinds of stuff. And the chief came and basically gave a really good presentation to the coaches and athletes about, how the EMS can respond to those trail systems where, maybe you don't have very good cell phone signal. You might not know where you are, all this kind of thing. And so I thought I got a lot of good feedback from parents, coaches, and athletes that it was a really good presentation, helping them raise their awareness about what to do when another athlete gets hurt or they get hurt. So thank you, Chief.
Welcome. It's good. Any other questions on this stuff?
Chief, could you give me a reminder of the benefits of the ultrasounds that you
Sure. So really about 4 different things we can use it for. At this point, the state of Wisconsin is very limited. What the state of Wisconsin says we can use it for is for cardiac arrest. So with patients, I guess we'll call it a low flow state. So their heart is actually beating in an organized rhythm, but their blood pressure is really low. We can't feel pulses with that, so we just assume that they're in cardiac arrest and we start giving drugs. So with the ultrasound, even doing compressions, we're actually able to look and see that the heart is beating even though we can't feel it. It tends to be in larger patients. So the state right now is telling us that is the only thing we can use it for. However, the scope, it's called a FAST exam. So in a patient with major trauma, there's actually 3 spots. You can look in the belly, the chest, the belly, and the bladder. We can actually see if there's internal bleeding. Says we can't do it right now. It's something we're actually gonna, we'll start training on. All of this is education, doing the assessment, but not delaying time in the field. So we can do trauma. We'll be able to do trauma assessments with it. We'll be able to look for collapsed lungs with it. I guess kind of the 4th big thing is IV access on patients who are morbidly obese and you can't find veins. Now we do have the ability to put a needle in a bone, which we can do and is down and dirty and quick, but the better options on some patients are actually to use it to find vascular access. So.
But you can,
It's also nicer. They're hard to pull out, those interosseous ones.
It's a little brutal to stick needles in bones. It's quick, and we do it if we have to. But yeah, the only thing we can do right now per the state is the first one, which is that cardiac arrest assessment. But there's a big push to expand that practice. It really is just because it's so new in the state. I think the medical advisory board for the state of Wisconsin really wants to limit that scope and get really good at one thing. Though I think I mentioned it last month, the other 2 services I have talked to, they're training on all of those things. They're just really only officially doing one of them.
oh, okay.
So as long as you're in there doing, watching even the docs do it when we were evaluating different products, is that it truly is a skill. So we can bring that here and kind of demonstrate it one of our times here when we get up and we're proficient at it, because it's up on a tablet and we show you what we're looking at. It's kind of exciting.
Yeah, I'd like to just present that when I give an update at the council next week.
So, perfect. Love it. Sell us.
Yeah.
Last thing I threw up there is our current in-house operating budget. Usual things I just point out right at in a nutshell, we are 58.1% through the year. So our total revenues with, you can see our run income is over where we anticipated it to be. Our salaries are at 53%. So we're a little bit under budget there, and our expenditures, I think, are at 51%. So our overall expenditures for the year are at 52.7% at 58.1% through the year. So right on target, right? Some things are a little higher, some things are a little lower. The usual things, kind of those 3 big things I hit with the budget presentation for next year is the great gas, oil, lube, repair, replacement parts, and medical supplies are all at 60-some%. So all of those are over what we budgeted for, and it's just the increased mileage, it's batteries, it's lots of things. So those did get increased for next year. Everything else is pretty on par for where we wanted it to be. Any questions on the financials? You should have gotten that packet. If there's something that comes up, please ask. Last thing I had just to share with the chief's report is it was actually a cold call we got about 2 weeks ago from a company that is essentially your website developer managers, and they particularly focus on fire and EMS agencies. I did a quick, it was a show me what you got presentation. There's actually some benefits to it. I actually had them show it to Jeff as well. So he also was impressed. So we're actually looking at our budget, kind of where we're at with computer support. I believe we can absorb that into our computer support budget line item from now and in the future. So we're actually going to move forward with some website development. A couple of big things it'll actually be able to do for us is though not looking for one more platform for us to use, but it will actually create some sort of intraweb for us. So our employees will be able to access. One of the big things is our time cards, because we just have such a unique way of scheduling and paying them. We still use paper, right? It's still an Excel spreadsheet time card. which lives on our server, which they can only access from the station. So this will actually allow them to remotely get in and fill out a time card. So right, that alone, I think, is a is a good benefit for the employees. Other big thing, our current website, right? We actually is for applications. Currently, right now, it's a link that says fill out this PDF, send us a resume, and send it in. The new website will actually be able to manage an application process for us. So we'll be able to collect data and bring all of that in and verify some of that information. Other thing it'll actually do is, in addition to sending out the meeting minutes and the agenda to our to the municipalities, we'll actually be able to host that ourselves now. I still have to send it out to the municipalities just to manage that open records. But all the things that I send you, the agenda, the packets, and then once the minutes are approved, we'll be able to put all that up onto our website for, not that we're hiding anything, but right, complete transparency. If you want the minutes right now, you gotta ask for them, I gotta dig them up and email them to you. And I got 47 years worth of them sitting on the server in Verona. But we'll be able to put that up on onto that website now. As well as just kind of the internet, the interaction with other social media. When we post something in one place, it actually blasts it to all the other ones. So just kind of wanted to let you know that we're working on that website. There's potential, as well as once I post some of this stuff, it will automatically send it to you versus me emailing it to you. So kind of look for those changes in there. We can actually create our own little commission portal as well if there's things and calendars and invites you're looking for. So I'll keep you updated on that. The cost should be absorbed into our current budget. So we'll see how that goes. That is the last thing I have for our chief's report.
Any questions for the chief on the chief's report? Looks like no. Thank you for your thorough report. Appreciate it. Moving on to the next agenda item is the committee chair's report. I'm the personnel committee chair and we did not meet, so there is no update. Did finance committee meet?
No finance either.
Okay. Moving on to approval of resolution 2023-3, GASB 54 fund balance. Chief?
Sure. So I didn't really spend a lot of time on that in the chief's report. I think I emailed it out to you. This is a reminder that I tell you every month, right? This is that government accountability thing we have to do every month that says we have a handful of things in our budget that I can't freely spend, that they are assigned things. So we have the inventory, the paid prepaid expenses. Those are things that the auditors determined that are sitting there. We have $1,161 in FAP funds that I can't use those except for state authorized purchases. $229,895.79 in our sick leave liability. We still have $2,061 in our EPIC grant funds. I did share with you, we got $25,000 from EPIC for the ultrasound units. Kate can swear that she signed the check, right? So we actually got it and spent it in this month, so that's why you don't see a number go up and go back down. It came in and was immediately passed out, so that's why that number is still low. That's actually a little bit of money left from the point of care ultrasound, which we will use that to purchase. We need some essentially gel, and then there's actually a little bit of funds left over from our ventilator purchase from last year. I have asked Michelle to just take that and move that into the general fund to use it for our ventilators, we actually do use disposable supplies. So our ventilators, circuits and masks, we can use all those funds towards the use of those ventilators. So we should actually see that number zeroed out here by next month. And then the $20,000 for contract negotiations for 2 years from now is still in there. So those are just funds that are assigned for something per you to spend on those things only that the government says you have to say we do. So just need some motions to approve it.
I move approval.
Any questions? Oops, sorry. Any questions before we go to motion to approve? Any questions regarding the approval of this agenda item? All right, motion to approve.
I move approval.
Second.
Okay, Dr. Lonsdorf,
David.
got you a second.
And David Lonsdorf is the second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All opposed signify by saying nay. Motion passes. Next agenda item is review and approval of accounts payable checks authorized by Chief Anderson, which were emailed out as part of the meeting packet. Any questions for the chief regarding the July check report?
Patrick, there was a line item in this report for checks that were written for garnishment, which I have not seen before. Can you give a little more information on that?
Sure, it actually has been in there before, you probably just have not caught it. We have an employee who may have defaulted on some student loans. And the government found her, that person. So they're paying back some student loans. That's what that is. So that has nothing to do with us. That's, we actually have two of them now. One of them is also doing back taxes.
Okay, thank you.
Patrick, what are the last 3 pages of the check report where it just shows a bunch of numbers that are added and subtracted?
Are they ones with names on them?
No, no names.
No, there's no names. It's just one column of basically, I think it's all the checks listed just by dollar amount.
It was probably me attempting to pull the check detail this month and not Michelle pulling the check detail this month and probably spit out the wrong thing.
All right.
The one I printed out does not have those, so I'm guessing what I sent to you is different from what I'm staring at. But yes, this was me attempting to pull this report out and not Michelle. So do you have it up over there?
All right. I just
Yeah,
wanted to prove I'd read all 9 pages.
That's what it looks like. Like it's just
Oh,
columns.
You know the problem, my guess is that because I have mine in landscape, I bet because that is in portrait look, the last column of something fell off.
Oh, I see. Yeah, just overlap.
Yep, those numbers match up with something.
So we really need Michelle.
Yes.
I'm teasing. All right. Any questions for the chief regarding the check run? Motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second?
Second, Lonsdorf.
All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 You're opposed signify by saying nay. The motion passes. All right. Moving on to, all right. The next agenda item is other business is allowed by law. Does anybody have other business to share?
I'll pipe in really quick if anybody's got anything, and then you can throw it in afterwards. I could have put it under the chief's report. As far as budget updates go, it's not an actionable item, it's just sharing with you. So I did my budget presentation for the city of Fitchburg to the city administrator and the finance director on Monday, the city administrator, the finance director, and the mayor on Tuesday. September 11th, I think it's Monday, September 11th, I will do my presentation for the finance committee in the town of, or for the city of Verona. Brian has that information. I'll just present to the finance committee and whoever else is, it's like half the council on there on that date. And then I still am working on trying to connect with Sarah out in the town of Verona to share the information with her. So that is where we were at. There is some discussion about doing something similar to last year and adding some money into our reserve or into one of those assigned accounts like the sick time balance to raise the levy limit and then exempt the levy limit from, exempt our increase from the tax levy limit. Again, something that was done last year. Misty and Brian are both aware of it. I know they're talking about it. And the town usually just signs onto it. All 3 municipalities do have to pass a resolution to allow that to happen in the district, but the municipality doesn't have to do it. They just have to agree that the other municipalities can if they want. So if that is the case, as that discussion continues, according to Misty, she won't know what the final, because part of one of the numbers in that formula is cost of living, which is not officially published yet. Or I'm sorry, the consumer price index, which is not officially published yet. That creates the difference in there that allows the tax levy limit. So there's a potential, the number I got from her was adding about $40,000 to the budget, to again put into one of those assigned funds to maximize the ability to, and that would be distributed the usual equalized value manner, but then that would allow you to use that additional funds next year. She says to maximize the potential to remove it from the levy limits. I can sort of explain it. If you want a better explanation than that, I will send you to Misty or Brian. But I wanted to let you know that should be decided by next month for a potential budget amendment to add funding in there. We, or you as a district, we as a district don't need to approve that resolution. That's done at the municipal level. And essentially it'll be the same language as last year, we just change the date. So if you have questions on that, I can try to walk you through it later, but that's really all I have. Unless anybody else has any other business to share. We'll do 2 more swearing-ins next month. One of Ava, who's our intern, has started and she ended up with COVID. Again, sounds like it's going around again. And then Amy, who is new as well, had a conflict with one of her children come up tonight. So we will do both of them next month in the new council chambers. Although this was Queens.
All right, any further questions for the chief? Any other business? Looking like head shaking no. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Absolutely. I make a motion. Second.
Do you have the motion and the second, chief?
I did.
Okay, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, signify by saying nay.
Thank you.
The meeting is adjourned. Have a good rest of your evening.
Thanks, everybody.
You too. Thank you.
Thanks.